Well, hello, everybody. Hey, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room. This is a Monday through Friday virtual stitching retreat, 8 a.m. Central, bright and early, where you hang out with me in here, follow me on my sewing journey, and I hope I can inspire you to put something under the needle. I just saw somebody here from San Antonio. Hey, neighbor, I'm in Vernia. She's probably going, where? Good to see everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness, the plaster crew is here for the pool. Yay! We start filling tonight. They said we'll be in it by Thursday. So exciting. Take about 24 hours to fill the pool. Good thing we're on a well, right? Let's say hello to Frito. Frito is our little rescue. She is just a love. There she is. There's my Frito dog. There's my Frito. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Yay, we're all here. Okay. You want your biscuits? There you go. There's your Dave biscuits. Yes. Uncle Dave sends these to you because he just loves his Frito visit. Yes, he does. There you go. Atta girl. Okay. And then here we go with the rawhide. There you go. It's got chicken all over it. You got to love that. Go brush your teeth. Okay. First order of business has been taken care of. If you're brand new here, that's how we roll. We must take care of the dog first thing. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, you can't keep up with all the hellos. Thank you, Sharon, for your hugs and kisses. Oh, and Peggy, lots of scratches on the ears for that sweet little girl of ours. Okay. Busy, busy day here in the sewing room. Need a sip of coffee to start. Look at my Liberty laser mugs. Isn't that gorgeous? I've got a link to these below. It says PTWT laser mugs and merch or something like that underneath there. Also, I put a link to my Amazon store at the very top of the description box underneath where it says more ... Tap that, opens up all the links that are under there. And lots of you asked me about my thread tree for behind the embroidery machine that I've been using the last couple of days. And I updated my store on Amazon. I have quilting favorites, embroidery favorites, tech and home. I get asked all the time, where'd you get your capris? What computer should I use? And all of that. So I've got lots of stuff in there. And Prime Day is coming, okay? I think it's the 8th through the 12th for Amazon Prime. And if you're not Prime and you join from my link, I'd appreciate that too. But Elaine let me know yesterday that a lot of you are in a situation where you're looking for a laptop specifically for your embroidery designs. That's all you want it for. You want to run your software, whether it's In-Brilliance or whatever software you might have, and you want a place to store your designs. So I put in the tech and home section a whole bunch of different computers at different price points that I think will work. I tend to stay with brands like HP. Most of the ones that I picked, I think, are HP, and then some Apple for you Mac users. I tend to stick with brands because I was in the Air Force and I worked cybersecurity for the Air Force. I stick with brands that comply with the Made in USA Act. So they're approved for use on like a government network. Okay, so they're secure. I don't like off-brand computers because you don't know what kind of junk is in them that wants to snoop around on your network, right? So that's Nancy says she uses an HP. You're welcome, Newlygan. Yeah, I'm real funny. I'm real funny about what I put on my own home network, trying to keep the burgles out, trying to keep the bad guys out. So anyway, all different price points, different screen sizes, that kind of thing. So whatever works for you guys, those are things that I like. Also, if you have got CDs of embroidery designs, okay, you will need an external CD reader, right? And I've got those in there too. Again, they're HP or they're Logitech or something like that that is compliant with Made in the USA. I'm just a nerd like that, just a nerd. Okay, so we got all the tech stuff out of the way. Lots of HP users on here. You're considering a MacBook for your embroidery. I'm very happy with mine. Real happy with that. The thing I like about the MacBook, my favorite feature, and I'm sure there are many that I don't even know about because I'm a new Mac user. The computer over there That one, that is a Windows desktop. The one I'm working on here that we're going to look at today is a MacBook Pro. And the thing I love about the MacBook is I have an iPhone, and if I want to send a picture to my MacBook to make the little thumbnails that I do every single day for our videos, I just pull up the picture and hit the share button, and the MacBook comes right up, and I tap it and it just drops. The picture just drops right there. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's fantastic. Okay. Do I have a MacBook Pro on my site? I think so. I think there's a Pro on there. MacBook Air, Pro, whatever. Yeah. It's a whole different world from Windows, but we did not come here to talk about that. I just want to let you guys know I've updated my site, my Amazon store, because Elaine told me, she said, all the computers that you have on there are no longer available, and they were Windows 10. So I needed to get new computers on there with Win 11 and all of that. All right. Okay, so follow up from yesterday. I'm going to get, just quickly, I want to get you guys to see the final result of the little truck from yesterday. I'm going to put the backing on it. So it turned out adorable, just adorable. I put Mylar over the star, and I did not, let me see if I can make it sparkle. There we go. I didn't do the final blanket stitch on the Mylar. I just ran the tack down one more, or the placement line one more time. Okay. And I see what you guys, somebody mentioned yesterday about the stitches going wrong on my thread. And I said the stripes were white. They were not, they were red. So that was a last minute fix as well. That turned out super cute. I love it. And look at the little fills for the tail lights. How cute is that? Turned out so cute. All right. So I need to get it trimmed up and ready for the backing. And I just grabbed a scrap of this blue that I don't like, okay, for the backing. And I have my hanging triangle ready to go so I can hang it on my little hanger. And the hanging triangle, this is supposed to be like 6 finished. So this is a 6-inch square folded in half into triangles, and the raw edge will be sewn up inside of the binding on the back. Okay, so I'm going to use my trimmer by George. I need a rotary mat. Let me see if I have do I have a big one around here somewhere? We'll just use a mat on a mat. Oh, I need my larger, excuse me. I need my larger rotary cutter. So the whole point of the trimmer by George is so that you don't have to trim batting away in the hoop. Okay. So you just, I'm just going to use the basting box as the trim line. I'm going to fold the pretty fabric up, and the trimmer by George has I have a link to it below too. It has a metal edge. Okay. And it's got a tall edge right here that protects the pretty fabric. And then if you're using an Ulfa rotary cutter, they recommend you use the 60 millimeter. Okay, so now I've got the pretty fabric protected underneath behind the metal lip, and I have the batting and the stabilizer. Let me just do this and trim that off nice and pretty. Okay, easy peasy. Then you can trim it down, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm just going to put this in here. It's not, whoop, I had a shallow, my fabric wasn't on straight. That's okay. It's going to be straight when I'm done. Right? All right. This thing was at 6.19, not quite 6 1/4. So it's going to, the binding will go ahead and be covered. See how easy this is? Trimming that away would be such a pain in the neck. Doing it manually. There we go. Okay. And then this is, I'm just going to give it a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I guess I should have done this on the first go round, right? I've got lines on the ruler markings on this side of the ruler. And trim this up. Okay. So, and I don't think I have a 1/4 of an inch available on the other side. I don't. Okay. So that's super cute and all ready to get its backing. It already has batting in it. So I'm just going to put it on here and I will run a basting stitch around, a wide stitch around to tack it on, and then get the binding going, which I don't have cut yet. So, all righty. So today on the thumbnail, I've got lots of questions. This is for Autumn Love. So there are several blocks on this that there's 2 of them. There are many blocks here in the outsides that have this, but we've got this guy here, the scarecrow and the apples and the corn stalks and the milk can. Okay. Thank you, Carrot. I like the way the truck came out too. It's adorable. Everything I've ever done from On Wander Lane is just precious. Just precious. You got an email from 2 chicks with corrections? Okay. Yeah, they were going to put that out too. Everybody who purchased the USB from 2 Chicks Quilting in Ganado, Texas for Autumn Love. Thank you for reminding me about that, Dee Dee. The Christmas tree quilt, we are going to start like July, first week of July. Yeah. So if you got the USB from 2 Chicks, you would have gotten an email from them giving you the link to go get the corrections to the USB. Okay, that we talked about. And oh, it's your first time live, Mary Chartrand. Welcome. Glad you joined us. It's always fun in here on the live. Chit chat and get your questions answered. Lots and lots of smart folks here in the chat. So Betsy says she downloaded the corrections and she can't really tell what the corrections are. Yeah, a lot of them might just be minute stitches where one block where it should have been a decorative stitch for some unknown reason jumped into a satin stitch on one, and they went through and fixed all of those. So it'd be hard for you to really see what's what. But let me show you how you can find the corrections if you didn't get the USB from 2 Chicks. Okay, I need to, we'll just pull up Mr. Google, I think, and I'll show you how to do that, where you can find it. So let me share my screen, and we're going to go to Google. In your search bar, you're just going to type Riley Blake embroidery corrections. Okay. And then it comes up. Here's Riley Blake Designs. That's first. Kit and pattern updates. Click that. I had you guys on my phone so I could see what you see. Oh, good. We're there. Great. Okay. And then what you're going to do is come over here to machine embroidery. Okay. Click that and scroll down. Let's see. And it's down here on the second row, project updates. And then there it is right there. It says pattern upgrades. I think they meant updates like the rest of them, but pattern updates, and click that. Okay. Now you get into this, and here it is right here. It says, thank you for your recent purchase, blah, blah, blah. The upgraded blocks can be found here, and click that. And you're going to open another web page to the link. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. I'm not sure. And I'm going to look on the screen here to see if you can see that too. And I don't think you can. Let me see. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to give you the next. Let's see. Kelly wants to know, what size quilting background did I use from Juju? I'm making the 6x10 version, so my quilting background was 5x5. Okay. Let me share screen, and there. So here it is. And you just need to go to wherever your embroidery file format is for your machine. Okay, I'm going to use this one because I'm on a Brother machine. There are the different sizes for each one. Okay, so I would go into my 6x10 and it tells me there's 20 files in here. All right, so there we go. And let's see. I wonder if they have a select all. Not hide sidebar. You only, I guess you need to, I don't see select all. There is a download button, but I think you have to select something to download. Let me check. I'm going to hit download. Your download will begin shortly. Okay, so it is downloading all of the files in the 6x10 in a zip file onto my laptop, my MacBook. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Or you can come around and select individual ones if you don't need some of the other ones. Okay, so there's the Harvest Star 3 that was given somebody fits. Almost all the sashing units have been corrected. Okay, so this is good. All right, and Harvest Star 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's the wagon, crow, and pumpkin. So lots of stuff. So now what you need to do, okay, let me stop sharing this. I have not looked to see if the naming conventions are different between the new file and the old file. I don't know. I have not done that. Let me see here. Did they put the finished block sizes? Debbie, I did not see. I didn't see that. All that those are embroidery designs. So let's talk about the finished block sizes. Let me get out of here. I didn't bring that up. Where is my USB for that? You know, I thought that I had, I know I have it on this MacBook. I know I do. I think I need to go over to, let me see here. I'm trying to think of where the instructions are on here. Why didn't I put it just like right where? I know that I have it on here somewhere. I think I do. I need to get out of that. So on here, you can tell, let me see. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Okay. So on this image, this finished block size, see how the points of the Harvest Star block, they come up and nearly touch the sashing. Okay. That's a 5-inch finished square. And in this column, all of the blocks are the same width. So if this is a 5-inch finished square, then this is a 5-inch finished. And this is the one I'm talking about today, to be able to blend two blocks. Because I don't know if you can see it, but there is a line right through the middle of this. There's a block here and there's a block here, and they want you to sew them together. And they are two 5-inch finished blocks. And you can see that by looking in the instructions, and it tells you what to trim them to, what to trim them, or what the finished size will be, because they have stitch lines there. I'm sorry, you guys, I did not pull up. So I suspect those are two 5x5 blocks sewn together to make a 5x10 or a 10x5, whatever. Okay. All righty. Not all the designs are updated. Okay. Yeah. Let me remove this. So now I got to sit here and pick my own brain and try to figure out where I put that, where I put that. I know I had it. I had it on my Windows tablet. I have it on that computer over there. I don't remember if I put it on my MacBook. You can't see my, which blocks am I talking about? I'm talking about, you couldn't see my cursor. These two right here, that's a block and that's a block. It looks like one, but they're not. They're designed to be separate and put together. So I need to, yeah. So when they go to put them together, it's just, it looks a little weird. Y'all, I'm going to go over and do this on my Windows machine, so we're not messing around here. Let me go get that. Let me get that brought up real quick. Hold on. Let's see. Right. Okay. And I need to get into. Let's see. Turn this. No, I don't need that. And I don't need this. Whoop. Okay. Now I can see myself here. All right. I got you guys. Oh, I got an answer from StreamYard. I wasn't happy with it. Okay. So I'm going to put this one on and how's that? Okay. I had a big echo. All righty. Anyone a lip reader? I got rid of the echo. Yeah. Y'all, this is my life. It's crazy. So I'm going to bring up Embrilliance. And I want to show you guys. Yeah. Okay. So this is the final of putting two blocks together. Okay. And I want to show you how I did that, because somebody sent me an email and said, how can I get these two blocks together so I don't have to sew them together? All right. So I'm going to make a new image, a new screen on here. And I want to open a design. So let me cancel out of this. I am going to drag and drop a design onto my screen. So I'm going to grab, so you're going to do this for both the scarecrow and the apples and for the corn and the milk can. So let's grab the scarecrow and bring him on. Okay. And then I'm going to open another new window and I'm going to bring in the bottom of that block, which is the apples, the basket of apples. Now this is going to work for both, all design sizes. This is not just 6 by 10. Okay. This is going to work because some of you want to do this all in one hooping. If you've got a hoop that can handle that. All right. So here we go. So again, this is a basting stitch. This outer line right here is a basting stitch. And this is a trim line. So okay. What I want to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on the design itself and highlight the whole thing. Okay. And I'm going to right click and copy, and then come back to this one and right click and paste. Now it automatically, the software automatically put it center screen, center of the hoop. So that the scarecrow was brought in centered in the hoop. The software automatically does that. This is Embrilliance Essentials. Okay, you don't need Stitch Artist for this. I'm going to show you how to do this with Essentials, and I'll show you how to do it with Enthusiast if you have Embrilliance Enthusiast. So as you can see, it's a little faint back here, but the basting stitch for the apples is sitting directly on top of the basting stitch for the scarecrow, and the trim line for the apples is sitting on top of the trim line for the scarecrow. So I'm not going to use my mouse to do this. I'm going to use the arrow keys, and look down here at the bottom on the scarecrow. You can barely see the line, but the center post goes below the line, and you need to marry that up with the center post in the top of the apple basket. So I'm just going to use my arrow keys and go straight down. Okay. And I want to make sure that, now let me show you something real cool you can do. So now it's directly below. Let me click off. So they're directly below. I'm going to come up into the ruler, okay, in where you've got your measurements. And on one of the lines, not a number, but on a line, you can click and drag, and you're going to get a ruler guide. And I'm going to place that ruler guide directly on top of that trim line right there. They want you to marry these two lines up and sew them together. This one and this one. All right. So now I can see the dots on the ruler guide on either side, and I'm going to grab the basket and I'm going to bring it up. Let me Control Z that. That's why you don't use your mouse, because it'll go side to side and it'll be wonky. I'm going to use my arrow keys. Where did my line go? Oh, I Control Z'd it. That's where it went. Let me grab another one, bring it down, and put it right on top of that line. Okay. And now I'm going to click the basket, and I'm going to move it up so that the trim line is sitting exactly on that. There. Okay. I'm going to get rid of my basting stitch. I don't want it. And you have to do that over here, right there. There's the outer basting stitch for the basket of apples, and I'm going to delete that. All right, now let me go up to the scarecrow, and I'm going to get rid of the basting stitch for the scarecrow. Okay, there are the trim lines. Now, I don't want that trim line right there in the middle. Okay, I want this, and if we look at this, and down here at the bottom, we can see the total is 5 by 10 and 3/16. Okay, let me Control A to select all and center in the hoop. Okay, there we go. I can grab this line right here, the guide, and just drag it back up and make my thing go away. I want to get rid of these stitch lines. They're right on top of each other for both blocks, and I want to get rid of it. So you can use the I'm gonna say it here. It's called the Stitch Simulator. And when you click the Stitch Simulator, that's right next to the objects, the select tool. Okay, there's a ruler, there's the Stitch Simulator. And you've got some forward and backwards buttons here with pause, stop, allows you to create a color stop, and then you can forward and backwards one stitch at a time. So let's go through this now, and we're going to go through the whole thing until we get to the trim line. And what I want to do, all right, and it's right, let's see, right here. Okay, so here's the trim line. I'm going to go back, forward. I'm using the scrubber up here on the top to go forward just a little bit. All right, so I want to get rid of this part of that line. So I'm going to use my arrow keys up here at the top to go backwards one stitch at a time until I get to right there. Now I'm going to click the stop button, and I'm going to choose any color. When you click the stop button, a thread dialog box comes up, and I'm going to change the color of it. Let me see what I changed it to. Where did that go? What did I do with that? There it is right there. I changed it to some blue. So you can see it's doing the old one. And now the blue thread, I should have, let me change a different color. I'm going to click this. I want to make it something vibrant that you can see, like a red, hot pink, 5560. Okay. So now it's a bright red right here. And the bright red goes from where I changed it to finish out that stitch. So now I'm going to use this scrubber again, and I'm going to come up. There we go. So now I'm going to use the little arrow keys and back up right there. And the other color is 9089. So I put a stop. I'm going to click the stop button, and I'm going to choose number, and I'm going to choose 9089 and go. Okay. So now you can see what I've done here. I need to click on that hot pink, which is the 5560. Okay. And I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Now that one is gone. Okay. So now let's go down and do this again. This is how you go through and get rid of unwanted stitches. I'm going to come all the way over here to the end. All right, there is the stitch for that. Let me back up. I want to get rid. Y'all see where I'm going with this? I'm going to tell it stop. And let me come up and pick a obnoxious color like the dark rust. So it finished the rest of the block in the dark rust. Okay. And I'm going to run this again to the last bit. And right there, let me back up just a couple stitches. I want to go back to the 9089 Cameron blue. So I'm going to hit the stop. And I'm going to type in 9089. I'm sorry you guys can't see that. Cameron blue. So now all we have left is this line right here in the red, and it finished it out in the color. Okay. So I'm going to click on where, oh, I'm in the wrong, right? Oh, it closed up on itself. I'm going to click that red one and hit delete on my keyboard. So now it might stop and do a tie off right here, but I don't care about that. Okay. So now these are married up exactly as they need to be. I wonder, because it said 10 and 3/16, you're supposed to marry that up. I could click on this and maybe go one up over like that. And now what is it? It's 5 by 10 and 1/8. One more. It didn't change it, but it's all together. See? So that's how you do that. I told you I was going to do, show you how to do this in Enthusiast too. Okay. Let me stop sharing this for a second. I want to see what you guys are doing. So the bottommost apple sticks out of that. Can you explain the difference between Essentials and Enthusiast? Yeah, Rita, Enthusiast allows you, it has a stitch editor in it, okay? And that bottommost apple, you want that underneath that seam allowance so it looks like it's sitting on the ground. As it when it gets sewn to the sashing, it's going to be sewn together. Connie, you get it? I appreciate that so much. Sometimes I wonder. You're welcome. So you would have to use a bigger hoop, right? So whatever, if you're making this, I think this only applies to the 6x10 because I'm not sure there's any hoops large enough to do this top and bottom. Yeah, you don't want to resize it. Don't resize it. You're going to put it exactly as they want you to and just get rid of that center stitch. Okay. Isn't that throwing off my size measurement? The size measurement should be 5x10. It should be because the finished blocks are 5x5. And if you put them on top of each other, they should finish at 5x10. Does that make sense? Yeah. I will create an Autumn Love playlist, Karen. Yeah. You can tell by the thumbnails. They're all the same color background thumbnail, and I only changed the titles. So are you out of here? All right. Love you. Drive safe. Bye. Call me if you need me. He's going down to Port O'Connor to go get the boat. Good. Okay. Math. No math. You know, it's just easy enough. You just 5 and 5 and put them together, and now it's 5x10. Yeah? 5 and 5 is 10. Okay. Folks are getting it. Good. Sorry, y'all. So let me show you how I know that this is gonna work. Let me pull up the Autumn Love deal here. Let's see. Go back and all right, so here are the instructions, y'all. This is the way it's supposed to go, but they tell you, let me scroll up. See how they've done this. So gather the Scarecrow 1 tile and the Scarecrow 2 tile and arrange them as shown. So they have their finished trim size, y'all, was 5.5. Okay. And on these squares that are like this, you can see on these tiles, they've got that dashed line. That dashed line, it says, following the chart below for your chosen size, use a ruler and rotary cutter to trim the excess fabric from the sashing unit, centering the design. All right. So let me, oh, sorry, right here. No, Frito, you can't go. No, you can't go. You have to stay here with me, sweetie. So see how we've got all this extra fabric out here outside of that trim line? All right. Now they want you to marry up, place tiles right sides together, making sure any corresponding embroidery elements are aligned, which is the stick in the middle, as well as the guide outline stitches on both tiles. Stitch together, sewing just inside the guide outline stitch shown in a contrasting bobbin color. Press the seam open, tear the stabilizer away from the seam allowance and the back of the assembled block. Follow the chart below for your chosen project size and use a ruler and rotary cutter to trim the excess fabric from your block, centering the design. See? So trimming the machine embroidery block, they want you to trim it to 5.5 by 10.5, which tells me, okay, it's 5 by 10. Does that work? I hope that works. Okay. You wanted to do this before in your software and just learned how. You're welcome, Chris. Awesome. Thank you. I just hope that it's clear. I just think that that's exactly what I'm going to do. And when I do my scarecrow block, I'm going to show you guys. Okay. Here's the thing. And if you want to, it might be easiest because they tell you to do the same process on all of the blocks that are not individual. So let me go back. Let me go back into the instructions. I'm going to scroll down here. So there's the same thing with the milk can and the corn. And here's your autumn blocks. Same thing. Okay. There's that trim line that it's going to put there. That, not a trim line. This is what you need to stitch, right? You're going to put these right sides together, like right here. And on the side of the U and the side of the T, you're going to put them together. Okay. And you're going to stitch just inside of those stitch lines. And it's going to look like that, but it's 2 blocks put together. Okay. So all of these blocks that are done like this, I don't know why they didn't put the right trim line. Thank you, Tracy, for the sticker. That's very thoughtful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Cheap class, right? Cheap class. So you can do this and put these all together. And if it were me, this is exactly what I'm going to do, you guys. Before I sew these together, okay, I want to put this center one together. I'm going to put the center and work from the outside in, or I'm sorry, inside out. I'm going to work from the inside out when I start trimming these down and getting them together, okay? Because that's going to tell you how tall that center block is with the house, right? Then you can make sure that your milk can, which is on right next to it, is the same size. Your milk can and your corn and your scarecrow and your apples. Those are going to be the same size. This is going to work. It's all going to work. It is a lot like Sweet Pea Designs. Sweet Pea and Juju both do this. And this is how embroiderers are used to making these. So it will look nicer without the seam, Connie. That's exactly why when someone wrote me about that, I hadn't really thought about it, but then I was like, yeah, that's going to look amazing to do that like that. For those of you that don't have Embrilliance and you just want to stitch them together, you can do that. Okay. But it is going to be exactly like a Juju table topper or a wall hanging. Kimberbell has you do this. All of the big embroidery companies and Sweet Pea have you put them together. Sonia's having hoop envy. I'm sorry, sweetie. I know. The more you play with your embroidery machine, the more hoop envy you get. And so can you do all 3 together in a bit too big for the hoop? I would think they're going to be too, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it should be too big to do like all 3 of those together. I don't know. I could do that in a multi-hooping. I certainly could. Oh, you're welcome, Sharon. She says she would have never done machine embroidery without my instruction. You are welcome. So we can do multi-hoopings. I'd have to chew on that and figure out how to put it together. That'll work. That'll work. Yeah. So lots to think about there. Get your brain going. Okay, what are we going to do? So, all right. So I hope that answers the question of how you would put these all together into one whole deal. But even if you want to do them together, don't trim, right? Don't trim it down until you are ready. So now this is for, thank you, Amy, for your super sticker. Thank you, darling. Very thoughtful. Multi-hooping lesson. Yeah, you will get that. So when I did the how to build a scarecrow quilt, that's in my little bat cave back in here. I did multi-hoopings on that. And once you get this concept, y'all, the world is your oyster. It should fit in a 10 5/8 by 16, possibly. It should. Yeah, if you've got that big hoop, Elaine, it should. Yeah, because if it's only 5 tall, right? You're talking about the bird or the little vase with the birds. I don't know. We'll see. I would think it would. Okay. Thank you, Kelly, for your sticker. That's very sweet. Thank you, guys. Sometimes I tell y'all how I'm thinking, and I'm like, I think I've lost everybody on the internet. It might fit on 9 by 14. It might. So those of you with larger hoops, let's think outside the box. Okay. Yeah, let's think outside the box. I don't want to add bigger background quilting. Yep. Yeah, Bonnie, I'm happy to do that for your, she says, need multi-hoop lessons. Yeah. For those of us. Yeah. And like Bonnie's largest hoop, she can do multi-hoopings, but she does not have a camera on her machine. So I will show you how to be able to line these things up without a camera. You are going to, and some of it, Debbie, trust the process. So let me show you. I'm going to get that quilt and show you guys what I'm talking about for multi-hooping. Where is it? I have it in this carrier that Betty Boop made for me. That's my quilty buddy, Lisa. Okay. So let me show you. This is from a event I just did. Thank you, Casey. You're very thoughtful. Thank you, darling. Cheap class. All right. Your background quilting, it's not going to matter. It'll look fine. It'll all blend together and you won't even notice it. Okay. So I had to do multi-hoopings for the center of this quilt. For the shirt. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this down where you guys can see it. So the hat was a single hooping. The overalls was a triple hooping. This is a big quilt, you guys. Okay. See that? Look how big that is. I could wear them. It's so big. All right. So the first hooping was the overalls, straps, and the bib. Okay. The second hooping was the top of the pants. Thank you, Judy, for your sticker. And Dee Dee. Thank you, guys. Y'all are so thoughtful. So the second hooping was the top of the pants and the waistband and the patches. And the third hooping was the bottom and the patches at the bottom and the cuff. And it all lined up. See how it all lined up? There in the crotch area. In the crotch area. I'm covering my microphone. Okay. Same for the shirt. The shirt was done in multi-hoopings. The body of the shirt, the bodice of the shirt was 2 hoopings, I think. Yeah, 2. With the collar, the top of the shirt, and the pockets, and half of the band. And the second half was the bottom of the shirt and the band and the buttons for that one. All right. And then the sleeves were done in 2 hoopings each to attach them. Multi-hoopings. And that's where you can use Embrilliance Enthusiast to set that up. Because Embrilliance Enthusiast allows you to do multi-hoopings. So you tell Enthusiast how big your hoop is, and you put a big design on there, and it allows you to do multi-hoopings. So it gives you little tick marks that it will stitch, and you just align up your tick marks. Anybody's taken a Kimberbell class with a multi-hooping, it's the exact same process. Okay. Correct. I was thinking about that too, Jerry. She says, if you install the new files or when you do, it should ask to overwrite if the file was named the same. Yes. And you would tell it yes to overwrite those files. I just don't know. I have not looked at that. So that's, but yeah, we can certainly do that if it's going to work. I think it will. I think it will. Can't wait for that class. Yeah. So I'm going to show you how to use Enthusiast for those of you with hoop envy. And so you have to cut your stabilizer big enough for the final finished block, right? And your background fabric, you'll cut everything the same for the final finished block. Oh, it did overwrite, Kim. Okay, good. Thanks. I appreciate that. So you can grab all of those downloaded new designs, copy and paste them onto your USB, or if you put them on, I would put them on the USB and save them. And then, okay. Alrighty. So yeah, you just cut everything as big as you want. So the background fabric on that shirt and the, you know, they weren't cut short. They were cut to the whole size and then line them up. So I'll be able to show you guys who do not have a camera system. This is where camera systems come in really handy. But the camera systems, the accuracy of the brother/baby lock camera, downward directed, is pretty good. It's probably the best in the industry. The downward directed crosshair, if you've got that, that's very close. But the best thing is to, what I do is I do a +1 on the first stitch and jump it to where I think it needs to go, to where it's going to start stitching, and make sure that that aligns exactly with the last stitch so that it's all going to line up. Or just jump the design around and then drop the needle, right? So that's how I did this. That's how I did this. All right. So I did the same thing up here on this one. I actually have a video with this block right here. This is a split hooping, multi-hooping, split hooping. Okay. And you just line up. So I did the bird and the star and half the grass in one hooping. Okay. And then I did the second bird and the rest of the grass in a second hooping. And so I used the tools available to me on the Luminaire to get it aligned really, really close. And then I used the needle ± to jump it around on the screen and so the needle is now or the hoop is moving, and make sure that when that needle went down, it went down exactly where it left off from the first hooping. So you can print a template. You can, with the Dimes print and stick target paper, you can do that. Yeah, I love my embroidery too. I know, it is so fun, so fun. But this one was a challenge to get those birds' noses to kiss just right over the top of that star. Just right. It worked fine. Yeah. Lots of multi-hoopings too on, this is where I first got into the process. Chicken salad, Lori Holt's chicken salad. Okay. Like, I don't think Myrtle might've been one. Some of these are so big, they wouldn't fit in a 10 by 16 hoop. Many of these birds were too big to fit in a 10 by 16. And so I had to do part of it in one hooping and part of it in another, and exactly place that. Then be sure to cut the background fabric large enough so you can move it around in the hoop and do a second one. So some of these birds are ginormous, right? So you have what? You have a Luminaire which did not come with the laser red dot W foot, so I bought one. It came with a Dream Machine and the red dot laser. Cindy, there's a button. There's a button on the Luminaire. It's in embroidery. When you're in the embroidery mode, it's up in the very top of the screen, and you see the embroidery foot, and there's a W on there. Tap it, and it'll do a downward crosshair. Okay. Bok, bok. Dave, looking at my chickens. Bok, bok. Yeah. Okay, you guys. I've been yapping for an hour. And I hope, do they have names? They have names. Yeah, Dave. Each chicken in the pattern had a name. And on the original quilt, the pattern from Lori Holt, it doesn't have their names, so I embroidered the names on there. So this was Prudence and her 2 chicks. Cute. There's a button on the Stellaire as well. So I didn't show Enthusiast. You're right. Let me do that real quick before we go. Let me go back into Embrilliance. Let me stop sharing that. And okay. So I'm going to Control A to select all and hit delete. I'm going to show you guys how quick I do this. So I'm going to pull up the scarecrow. You can actually do it on the same screen, and the apple basket. I just did them separate so that you guys could see. I'm going to select the apple basket, and I'm going to have it go. Oh, let me grab a ruler and bring it down and put it right on top of where it needs to go. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my apple basket, use my arrow keys, and come on down and put that trim line, or that's the line where they're supposed to be the same. Maybe I'm thinking it needs to be up a little bit so that the seams are completely hidden in the seam allowance. Okay, on both of these, I want to get rid of the basting stitch. Click here, click that basting stitch, get rid of it. All right, so let's go into Enthusiast. What is my size now? 5 by 10 and 1/8. Let me click that and go down 1 dot. What are we at? 5 by 10 and 1/16. That's what I'm saying. Hold off on trimming until we get the center size actually right. Let me go back up. Okay. So in Enthusiast, that is this right next to Stitch Artist. It looks like a pointer pointing at a single stitch. Let me see where we're at here. What's going on? Okay, good. I want to get rid of those 2 center stitches. I'm going to click on Enthusiast. Now, when I click that, all of the individual stitches have shown up. Okay. And I'm going to, all you need to do is come over here. They've got a little square, or they have freehand, but I'm going to use the square. And I'm going to draw. You can just highlight these and select them and hit delete on your keyboard. And I'm going to do it again and highlight these. Let me see. I did it the other day in Enthusiast. Let me see here. Delete. And why are they not gone? You can do individual stitches like that. Why are they not gone? Did it go around twice? See, these are not stitches. I don't know why you can still see that. So that's what you do with Enthusiast. I need to delete. And you want to don't delete the ones that would be tucked below. See how you can do that? Pretty easy. Oh, I don't know why those are still there. That's weird. They weren't there. I got rid of them completely. This little stitch here, these are stitches. They'll show up. You want to get rid of those. I'm just hitting delete on the keyboard and highlighting them. But these should not. Anyway, you might be more successful using the other method. But this is the stitch editor in Enthusiast, and this will get rid of those unwanted stitches. Okay. So let me look at this. Because there are stitches still here on that line. So I'm going to hit that, delete, delete. I just highlighted the stitch itself. It left the whole line. Now you're going to have to just go through the stitch simulator, change the color. Yeah. Sorry about that. But that's how the stitch, that's how it works. Okay. So that's how that works. All right, you guys, thanks so much for spending the time with me. Thank you all for your super stickers. You're very generous. I appreciate that. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. There's Debbie's quilt going back out it's going out in the mail today. So this has been a lot of fun. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Bye.